if you take your average, 13-year-old, or you can even say 10-year-old, they've probably watched, hundreds of hours of porn, women being abused, all kinds of things I've probably never seen before in my life. But what do they actually know about sex, right? And what do we know about our sexuality? So, guys, it's so cool to be back here for this second day. It's nice to see faces that are quite familiar. It's also nice to see faces that are not familiar and new people. And I absolutely really enjoyed yesterday. You probably saw how excited I was. I'm really excited to be back here again today. I love talking about this because, even though now we're kind of in an era where everybody's talking about sex, not everybody, but some people are talking about sex. What do they talk about? Oh, you need to have loads of partners to be sexually liberated, or you need to go shopping in a sex shop and buy this and that accessory, or you need to try this and whatever kink, yeah, or, whatever porn movies. I mean, I was talking to this woman who was never had an orgasm. She was going to a sex coach that was just like saying to her, like, try watching loads of different kinds of porn, and eventually you're going to find porn that's going to give you an orgasm, right? Which is just kind of like, yeah, it really kind of put her off of sex, actually. So I'm going to start with my PowerPoint, just so you know, guys. Where's my PowerPoint? Sorry. Today we will go on a little longer than yesterday because the topic for today is so much bigger. Okay, just to remind you guys, please, if you want to enter my giveaway, take a screenshot of me here and just share it in your story on Instagram or Facebook with the hashtag @theartofthebedchamber. And you'll enter my giveaway for that. Yeah, I also have other giveaways as well, right? Because I want to reward everybody for, first of all, like I said yesterday, actually taking the time to come here and to learn and to educate yourself about this. The fact that, like, yeah, we can look at sex in this, what I'm going to call like a narrow consumerist kind of a way, where everything's about, he didn't turn me on enough, he didn't give me an orgasm, that porn movie was too boring, the actress didn't have big enough boobs, the vibrator doesn't have a high enough setting, and so on and so forth. So actually coming back within and actually taking the control of our own body and our own energy and our own relationship with our sexuality. So also sending out, by the way, love to the guys watching the replay as well. We can't all make it, right? So let us start the slideshow. Right. So sex is your superpower. And we say in Taoism, we say actually sexual energy is a superfood for your soul. And when we think, okay, it's a superpower, there is this weird way everybody is drawn to sex. Even when you look at these guys that are obsessed with not having sex, like the priests and the monks and so on and so forth, they still have this, everyone's drawn towards sex. But the thing is, it seems like in the modern society, most people don't understand what it's about. Ancient people had real intricate knowledge of what sexuality was for. Of course, we know, like, it is for creating a connection between us and a partner, a loving, beautiful connection. It's also for creating a connection into ourselves, and in fact, for creating a connection into the divine. And I'm going to be sharing to you in a few minutes or half an hour, maybe, I'm going to be sharing to you exactly how this works, the way that the feeling of lust that we view as a low thing or an inferior thing or a negative thing, how that lust is actually the catalyst to take you to a place of higher consciousness, as well as everything else along the way. So sexual energy is a superfood for the soul. And here's a picture of two people practicing sexual alchemy together. Sexual energy is the ultimate creative energy that arises in the universe and animates all living things. In Tantra, it's called Shakti energy. And it is the energy that created you, and it regenerates you too. So looking at sexual and spiritual, sexual energy is the most potent form of spiritual energy. So I'm just going to read that a second time. Sexual energy is the most potent form of spiritual energy. I'm going to say everything else along the way as well. So healing yourself, being creative, your destiny, putting your dreams into action, your power, your healing is all interconnected in there. It is also the most powerful healing energy that can rejuvenate your body at a cellular level. It feeds your natural creativity and gives you the power to put your plans into action. It even has the ability to highlight and guide you on your destiny. And if we look at Taoist legends, right, you know, and it's something a lot of Western people ignore because they do sound really bizarre, you know. I mean, there's one of a woman called the Queen Mother of the West, who's literally revered by Taoist women, especially, you know, to this day. She was actually said to have had sex with 5,000 men. And through this having sex with 5,000 men, she's gained immortality, right? Now, it's not to say we all need to go out and have sex with 5,000 men in order to become enlightened or immortal and so on and so forth. But the point is, the story is demonstrating the way that our sexual energy actually has the power to rejuvenate the body at the cellular level. So I know that I introduced myself yesterday. Just to go over again, I'm not going to go into my story again. You can watch the replay from yesterday if you want to know a little bit more about how I got into this. But just to say that I did study with the Grandmaster Mantak Chia. I'm a certified instructor. I've also studied with other of the Taoist instructors, and I've also done Tantra educator training as well. And here I am with the incredible Master Chia, who we should just thank and honor for the tradition and the lineage of Taoism, which was handed down from master to master to master over thousands of years. He was given, please do mute yourselves, guys, thank you. He was given this teaching, which he's then adapted to a way that's easy for Western people to kind of take in and to practice. So this is an ancient tradition. It comes from the Far East. Master Chia talks about this being written down 4,500 years ago at the request of the Yellow Emperor, who was basically suffering because he had 3,000 wives. He couldn't keep them all sexually happy. And he got 3 women, who I believe may have even been peasant women, to actually write down all of this folklore and folk knowledge about sexuality and teach him how to have sex without ejaculation. And this is how the story of the written version of this is said to have begun. Now, imagine how many thousands of years before people were doing this and not writing it down and just handing it down from person to person to person. And this stuff is recorded all over the world, by the way, South America, Egypt, you name it, our country as well. So I just want to put a disclaimer in here, guys, okay? Because these are powerful energies that we are working with, and they must be respected. At the end, we're going to do a meditation, but I ask you, please have a lot of reverence and respect for this energy we're working with. It is not a toy. Many Western people have played with these energies and harmed themselves. I mean, I recently spoke to someone and I was explaining how you could move the sexual energy through the body. I was also explaining that first, you need to clear the negative emotions out of your body, because when you bring the sexual energy into the body, it amplifies whatever is there. He started trying to spread his sexual energy around the body and went into like a massive depression because he hadn't cleared the negative emotions out. And the Taoist practices that we look at are taught in a specific way and in specific orders. So this is really a scientific way of learning step by step by step by step how to unblock your energy and how to activate your sexual energy. Malpractice can result in nothing happening, which is a best, you know, Sometimes it's the best thing that can happen, but it can also result in serious and permanent health problems. And I speak to many people that, for example, messed around with this stuff and developed quite severe premature ejaculation or back problems or problems with their prostate as well. So it's really important, because this is such powerful stuff, that we work with it in the way that it's been basically laid out by the masters. So this includes taking practices out of context, for example, learned from a book or a YouTube video. So, you know, every month or two, I get contacted by someone who's learned something on a YouTube video and ends up with all kinds of problems from trying to follow the instructions in the YouTube video. You know, and also, okay, people talk about Tantra and everything's Tantra and sex. Sex is a small part of Tantra. When you look at Taoism, sex is actually quite a big part of Taoism, but it's a small part of Tantra. And really, you know, it's all well and good to go and kind of learn to be sensual, learn to slow down. This stuff is amazing. It's fantastic, but it's not really what Tantra is about. And it's also, there's just so much more that you can learn to do with this energy, which I'm going to be talking about today and tomorrow. So just to make you aware, even if you have been to Tantra workshops and Tantra training, you probably only learned a teeny tiny little bit of what this is all about. And just to say as well, Kundalini syndrome is a real thing. The energy is not a toy. So it's really important when we're doing this to just really respect both the energy and also the ancient practices that we are learning. So I just want to check. Can I just say, is the sound okay? Is the video okay? Can you stick there in the chat for me if it's okay? Because I just heard my dogs barking in the background, but there's a way for me to mute the dogs out. Oh yeah. The dogs are muted out. I see. Okay. So, I'm just curious here. If you've ever learned and studied Taoist practices, can you give me a 7 in the chat, by the way? Cool. Can you tell me who the teacher was? I'm really interested. Who is the teacher? Who is the instructor? Anybody here study with Michael Wynn? I'm curious. Or Barry Spendlove? Or go to Dow Gardens? Okay. Yeah. No worries. Okay, I was just curious if there was any names I knew that was going to come up. So I just want to let you guys know, right, before we get going with this, everything I'm covering here is based on the work that I have developed and evolved with my clients. And if you're interested to follow this path with me, well, I'm going to talk more about this tomorrow, but get in touch to apply for a consultation. This is a highly complex system that works by developing your skills to cultivate, transmute, refine, and store energies. These are potent and volatile energies that include sexual energy that we tap into that can harm as well as heal. I don't recommend to practice it without guidance. That said, the benefits of embarking on this path are often felt in weeks of starting. This includes healing from debilitating mental health conditions, and the impact is also felt on physical and sexual health. Because this work is holistic, its powerful effects are felt through every layer of life. For example, CEOs that I work with literally find benefits to their whole company within weeks of starting, right? It's crazy, because one thing I love about this is everything's so interconnected, everything like so fits together, you know. And that's what, to me, it just says, like, it's so perfect, it's so divine, the fact that, like, you know, it's not about going, oh, I'm going to give you one pill for the shoulder, the next one for the knee, the next one for the stomach problems. It's like it's all interconnected and it all fits together in such a perfect way. So Ancient people saw sexuality as a sacred way to connect to others, to heal and regenerate their bodies. This is a fascinating part, right? The immortality thing, to access wisdom, direction, their destiny, and spiritual purpose. Modern society sees sexuality as inherently risky, something that needs to be suppressed and hidden. And yet at the same time, it's shoved in our faces in a soulless way 24/7. Like I said at the beginning, your average 13-year-old has watched hundreds of videos of women being abused sexually and think they know it all, yet has no idea of what his sexuality is about. And one thing that porn does, there's very few people who will actually just really just come out, hey, I watch porn. You know, it creates this whole secret environment of this kind of shameful thing, you know, for very many people. And then at the other time, this whole thing of, oh, I need to hide my sexuality. So it creates this kind of almost like a bipolar or split personality thing that's going on, you know, and this is what our culture is doing. On the one hand, it's sex is so shoved in our faces. On the other hand, there's just, most people don't even know, you know, basic information actually about it. So sexual energy, ancient people knew, is your divine creatrix energy. It made us, but it also powers us through life. This isn't just in the nice feeling we get. There is no just. The nice feeling is a superfood for your soul that has the power to permeate through your body and heal you at the cellular level, activating your alchemical process. So we're going to be looking really, really soon at exactly the map of how this alchemical process works. Okay. And in Taoism, we say, when we feel pleasure, pleasure is like a sign of things going right. You know, it's a sign of the energy moving. Life involves suffering, it involves pain, but that's not something to try to kind of grip onto, hoping it's going to make us better people. It's about getting out, using the pain as a lesson so we don't get stuck in suffering. So sexual and frustration. We associate sexuality with frustration and urges that are considered to be a negative. This is not what sexuality is about. This is blocked sexual energy. Sexual energy is innocent. It's pure. It's life-giving. It's the fuel of love. And it is here to create connection with yourself, your partner, and the divine as well. Sexual blockages are purely the result of belief systems. The most twisted pedophile is just someone with blocked sexual energy. The sexual energy we think of as bad is just stagnant energy. Continuously repressing your sexual energy will leave you with health problems, unable to feel love and to connect. You know, so pretty much every man is taught from a young age they need to hide their sexual energy, they need to hide their erections. Fact is, there are ancient statues of the Buddha, for example, meditating with an erection, because people understood that when energy is moving, you get an erection. There's so much misinformation and negativity about what sexual arousal or getting an erection, which isn't necessarily even about wanting sex or sexual arousal, is actually about. And so when we spend our lifetime trying to battle these feelings, or we feel that sexual energy is throwing us into something that's going to be painful. For example, the main sexual blocks we get is the one of shame, which lives around the pubic bone, pubic area. You can often find that as like discomfort and lumps and bumps around the pubic area. The other really main block is just in the solar plexus, which is a fear of love. Those blocks, essentially what they're just doing is they're stopping us from having the most basic things of being able to feel love and to really, really connect, to be able to find the love of our life, to be able to create a relationship that's absolutely the perfect relationship that we really, really desire. And coming out of that is everything, because this is the fuel that created us, and this is the fuel that can literally provide for us to actually start creating the life that we desire and the life that it is our destiny to create. And this is about being able to see our destiny. The vision is about being able to actually see the steps along the way to be able to create that beautiful, amazing life that's really the life that you want and you desire. So let's look at love and sex. According to the Tao, healthy sexuality is comprised of 50% love and 50% orgasmic energy. These energies emanate from the heart and the sexual center, which is the womb. And we're going to do a practice to work on this in a short while. Okay. The heart center contains red energy, which is love, and the sexual center, blue energy, which is orgasm. For this sexuality to be operating at its ultimate, there needs to be a strong connection between the two, moving the energies up and down, distributing the energy between the two centers. This flow can be interrupted by any belief system that separates love from sexuality. For example, the belief that sex is dirty, or that others or oneself are sexual objects, or that sex is just about getting off and will interrupt the flow of this energy, right? So how interesting is that? You know, when we look at old sexual repression, when we look at the old style of sexual repression, you know, it was painting out sexuality to be like impure, sinful, and so on. But when we look at new style, so-called sexual liberation, it's actually a much, much more carefully marketed repression of our sexuality than anything that was existing in the old days, because what it's doing is it's tricking us into thinking that sexual liberation means separating our sexuality off from our soul, off from our heart, and, you know, kind of turning people and turning each other into these objects. And when I tried, you know, because I would say over the years, I've given things a try, hung out in various, you know, scenes, hung out in like various polyamory scenes, you know, and just what I felt, you know, and I will say on 2 occasions, I gave it a go, hung out in it. What I felt was I just felt my whole sexual energy just shutting down. I just couldn't see the thing like, why would I want to go from this person to this person to this person? Like, what's liberating about it? How is that going to get me, you know, something? I mean, I remember another time I was doing some research and I walked in this sex shop. I was asking about vibrators, and this woman come over to me, this massive thing, and she's got like, yeah, and it's got like such a high setting, and it was like making me think of one of those machines when they're digging up the road and it's like, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, can you give me the thing with the lowest setting? And she kind of looked at me just like, oh, okay, you know, well, let's get going here. Okay, so let's look at emotions, beliefs, and programming. So yesterday we were talking about emotions and we were talking about shame. I'm going to call shame a programming as opposed to an emotion, okay? Because what shame is, it's, for example, I'm just interested, guys, actually, what have you been shamed for? Do you want to put in the chat what you've been shamed for? If you feel like you're not able to put it publicly, you can send me a private message. I'm really interested, because shame is basically how we are controlled. You know, shame, it's like, you know, we're taught, okay, anger is shameful. This is one of the big things I work with, and we push it down. And what happens? We lose the ability to assert ourselves, to put up healthy boundaries. We even lose our creativity because our anger is shamed, and the result is flying into rages. You know, the same, sexuality is shamed. What's the result? People playing out their sexuality in various ways that are harmful, because it's like we're stopping the energy flowing. It's like if you have a river and you block the river and all the water goes stagnant, it's not the water's fault, it's happening because of the blockage. So I'm really curious, what have you been shamed for? And we'll have a look at that in a minute and go and have a look at some pointers of what we can actually do about this. So belief systems and programming are the major reason why this energy becomes blocked. The idea that sexual energy is shameful and should be hidden literally stops its flow. So if you go and ended up in the middle of a jungle or whatever, and you found one of these tribes where nobody's naked, well, sorry, where nobody wears clothes, everybody's naked, there's no sexual morals and so on. Or what are you going to find? Yeah, are you going to find everybody's raping each other and there's all kinds of crimes and sexual harassment and so on? The fact is that anthropologists have found in this tribe, there's no women complaining about harassment. There's nobody complaining about being raped and violated, that actually people are having very healthy relationship with the sexuality, even though parents will have sex in front of the children. But there's literally no kind of signs and evidence of people having those negative effects that we associate with sexuality. And there's many, many other interesting things about these tribes, including people being very, very physically strong, even though not having much muscle. So what happens, and we're going to have a look exactly at a diagram of the science of how this works, but this belief system causes the energy to build up in the genitals due to a blockage in the lower belly. It causes tension. So imagine you're told the sexual energy, you're supposed to repress it or hide it or whatever, and you literally physically tense around your pubic bone, which blocks your blood flow, it blocks your lymph flow, it causes all kinds of other problems, including with the autonomic nervous system when you're doing this. It causes tension, which results in sexual frustration, frequent need to release, or sexual shutdown. Often there will be lumps and discomfort in the groin. And when we look at the fear of love, which often develops as a baby due to lack of healthy physical affection. So these people in the tribes, they're actually finding the mother is constantly hugging and loving the baby. When we look, we're a generation that grew up with many of us not experiencing physical touch in a healthy, loving way from our parents. And then we look at the way that everybody is behaving. It's not surprising that people have very, very difficulty with making a deep connection with others, and people are getting addicted to porn because porn's not going to hurt your feelings, is it? You know? This causes an energy block in the solar plexus and right under the heart. And as you can imagine, getting an energy block in your solar plexus is also going to affect your ability to manifest your destiny and your path on the world. So as the body tries to protect the soul by preventing the opening of love in the heart, we're actually like really, really being shut down from our potential. Our morality-based system of understanding sexuality is based on these sexual blockages and demonize the results of an illiterate morality, which is volatile sexual urges resulting from blocked meridians. And it is interesting that in the Tao Te Ching, it basically says that morality is not a good way to live our lives. So being shamed for masturbation right now, my sister, bless her, who probably is never going to see this, but she was about, and I have 4 sisters, so you don't know which one I was talking about anyways here, but she was found around 7 years old, like rubbing her vagina and being like, oh. I was like, what? You found your sexuality at that age? I didn't find it for like another 10 years or something like that. Yeah. But, you know, she was really told off and shamed and everything by my aunt, I think, and everyone else who heard about it. I mean, I remember my mum saying to me probably around 16, like she was going, are you masturbating? And I'm like, masturbating, what is that? I don't know. Yeah, I was pretty naive and innocent, you know. And yeah, like, you know, on the one hand, you know, there's healthy touching of sexual organs, right? On the other hand, there's frenzied kind of a touching, which is a desperate attempt to release a blockage, right? Do you get the difference between that? If you get the difference, please give me a 2. If you get what I'm talking about, the difference between maybe what we could call conscious self-pleasure and then this kind of beating to get a blockage out, you know. And this is something like when we can go, because the frenzied masturbation most people do is the result of blocked energy. I mean, I found with working with clients, within 4 weeks, everybody tells me, porn, no more interest, not even interested in masturbating. And then on the 7th week, I start teaching how to consciously self-pleasure and work with the sexual energy, which isn't possible when there's all these blockages in the way. But once these blockages are released, you can change into this new relationship of alchemy with your sexual energy. So being too sexual, wanting to have sex, or just expressing myself. And I think we as women, we are taught that us being sexual, we're like asking for someone to rape us, you know? On the other hand, men are often being taught that you guys, you know, you got an erection, therefore you're in the wrong place, therefore you're like a rapist, you know? It's like these two opposite fears that we don't really talk about too much with each other as well. That it's almost like we as women are so indoctrinated to fear men, and men are kind of almost being indoctrinated to fear themselves and their own sexuality. And it's just causing chaos in between the way women and men do connect, you know. And the more that I'm been working with men over the years, you know, literally, like I would say there's thousands of men I've worked with, you know, and the more I get to know men and discuss, and it just really made me realize like how programmed I was to fear men, when the absolute vast majority of men literally wish the best for us women, want to be there and support us, want to make us feel good, but they don't know how to because nobody's giving them the information about it. So body size and shape, big time. And the thing is that we are taught that, you know, I think you can find the most gorgeous, stunning woman and she's going to feel like something's wrong with her, and men as well, and you just start obsessing on this part of you that you feel isn't right, and then it just almost grows into this big, you know, thing, which, you know, I suppose it's like this thing, you can be looking in the mirror and be like, oh my God, I've got a spot, oh my God, it's massive, yeah. And then you go out and you're like, oh, I've got a spot, and the person's like, where is it? Can I see it? You know, and then you remember there's people who've had their legs blown off and, you know, are living with all kinds of things. And yeah. So I take it Alexander is a male, so being too sexually desirous, displaying any level of sexuality, masculine traits, and men are unfortunately demonized for showing. I think there's a lot of confusion about what is masculinity and what is femininity, and there's a lot of toxic femininity and toxic masculinity going on in the world today because there's just a lot of toxic energy. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shaming of men around the sexuality, and it's very subtle because you have, for example, the whole thing of the fear of being a nice guy. What if I'm a nice guy and I'm gonna, you know, be mistreated by women? What if I'm like a, you know, too much, whatever, and I'm accused of being a rapist? What if I'm, you know, not showing my sexual energy? Then I'm going to be accused of being bad in bed. You know, it's a kind of like a lose-lose situation that I think especially men are in. And the thing is, ultimately, the key to this is to understand that when our sexual energy is arising, what it's doing is amplifying everything that's in our body. And pretty much all of us have a load of weird unconscious stuff going on within our body that the sexual energy then amplifies. And ultimately, this is the key to when we're received from other people in ways that we feel are negative, right? It's because it's clearing that stuff out. And that's why I go through this process with my clients. So first of all, clearing out the body, clearing out the physical body, and then going into the actual sexual organs, because we can store a lot of blocked emotions in the vagina and in the penis. And this is why, for example, a lot of women don't have internal orgasms. They don't feel pleasure inside of the vagina. It's why a lot of men have, I mean, it can be show up in various ways on the penis. It might be like a frustration and urges. It can be premature ejaculation. It can be problems with erection. It can be different things as well. But it's like the sexual organs are actually, I'll talk more about this tomorrow, but they're basically the deepest way that we can heal ourselves, you know. So I teach women to meditate with their vaginas. And by the way, I want to just invite to women here that tomorrow I'm doing like a private meditation with some of my female clients. We're going to be doing yoni meditation. Any of you ladies here who would like to join, please send me a direct message. I would say on Instagram or Facebook, send me a direct message and I'm going to give you the Zoom link to join. Okay, that's tomorrow evening after we finish the Zoom class. But when we start clearing out the sexual organs, it's like the way we get received by other people, the way we feel in our own energy. You know, when a man's energy is no longer just going into the penis, but it's coming into the body, and a body that's cleared out, you know, because if it's going into a body full of all these blockages, it's going to amplify the blockages. It actually becomes like, you know, if you imagine the most beautiful, perfect, symmetrical cock, absolutely full of energy, erection, you know, and how beautiful and what a gorgeous sign of life force this is with all its symmetry and everything. It's like the man's body becomes this, as he's literally embodying cock energy in the most positive sense, and very much the same for us women. So sexuality in general, it is completely outside of religion. So most religions do not understand this. Being too thin, being too emotional, right? They say we women, we are emotional beings, like our emotions are guide, you know, we to men as emotional beings, we are oracles, we are portals to the divine for the man. And that is the role of us women, to actually connect men with the spiritual world, just as the men are here to keep us safe in the physical dimension for being yourself. Yeah, man, we just get shamed for being ourselves. We're taught from school, you know, what do you want to be when you grow up? Well, you're not supposed to say me, are you? You're supposed to be a lawyer, a doctor, an idiot, a politician. You know, and another thing I love about this is the fact that this is all about you just becoming a more upgraded, authentic version of who you are, you know. And I very much promote to my clients, fall in love with yourself, you know, whatever about you that anybody's made fun of, whatever is the weird bits of you, whatever is the quirky bits of you, whatever, yeah, basically embrace those things. And when we amplify with honor and love and pride, things people used to make fun of us for, we actually find we get respected for those things, because honestly, anything that you carry off with confidence, people are going to actually respect. So getting back to our emotions, which we just did. No, we haven't. Sexual to spiritual. Okay. Sexual energy arises in the perineum from the first acupuncture point, which is called the Hui Yin, halfway between the sexual organs and the anus. From here, it naturally rises up through the body and through the meridians and transformation centers. The first thing it does is gather in the belly, where it is transformed into chi and starts to revitalize the body and literally give you energy. When it reaches the heart, it transforms into an energy that permeates through the cells and regenerates the cells and glands and returns them back to their original programming. Eventually, as it rises into the center of the brain, it can then awaken the area called the crystal palace, which connects us to the universal wisdom and awakens our consciousness. So here's a diagram of this. There's loads of diagrams available. This is not something that a hippie made up in their basement a couple of decades ago. This goes back thousands and thousands of years. Basically, all Chinese medicine is based on this. This is why, for example, acupuncture is so effective. But acupuncture only works on the external meridians. What we're talking about here is a practice where you can go inside your body and in a matter of months, learn to activate the internal meridians, which then balances the external meridians. So it's much, much more deeper and powerful than actually things like acupuncture treatments. So we are created, your body is an alchemical chamber. I suggest take a screenshot, guys. I think this is going to be a great screenshot to share on I'm going to see if I can get a screenshot of this. This is going to be a great screenshot to put on your story if you want to connect, right? Of this picture, the next one as well. It's also a really cool screenshot, and save this for yourself, because you are created out of sexual energy and orgasm. Within us as an organism, this is the source energy that feeds our meridians. It's kind of like the base chakra. Okay. You may identify connecting with this as the horny feeling that you get between your legs. Oh, look at me here. So, I'm gonna just, okay. Hey guys on Facebook, why don't you come join us on Zoom? There's loads of people watching on Facebook. Guys, come and join us on Zoom. Okay. So, you may identify connecting with this as the horny feeling you get between your legs, right, guys? So let's just connect into the horny feeling as it's arising. And it's kind of like, as I'm saying this, I think you can maybe tune into it, you know, and that we feel it in the perineum, because this is the energy awakening. There's nothing sinful, there's nothing dirty, there's nothing wrong with this. This is your source energy. The natural flow of this energy, which is the Jing, is to rise up and to transform in your belly from the feeling of horniness to the feeling of vitality as it becomes Qi energy in your lower Dantian. Okay, this is another great place to take a screenshot. I'm going to take one too. So the natural process is to move through the 3 energy centers or dantians, transforming from feeling horny to feeling energized to feeling love, Shen, in your heart. So imagine the horny feeling rises up into the belly, it turns into Qi. So many people are stuck in the place where even that's not working properly. So that's where you're going to find people constantly needing to release sexual energy, like porn, so-called porn addicts, which are people having blocked energy. I don't like the word addict or sex addict or porn addict. I don't like that term. But that energy is not even arising. And when you look at people that are, because I speak to so many people and understand about energy, I can pretty much see when someone is like a chronic masturbator and you see their energy is often very, very depleted. Now, if someone has very, very high levels of Jing naturally or very high levels of sexual energy, they may be masturbating a lot and not feeling that drop off of energy, but it's still going to affect the body as well, because you're still not getting the access to your sexual energy coming into your cells and healing your body, so you can get illnesses and sicknesses and so on. Whereas even if you're working in a job which is really, really intense, you have so much responsibility on you and so on. And often people get burnt out and even die from this kind of a job, especially if your job is like a lot of stress, you're in charge of things at work, you have responsibility and so on. But if you're in this kind of job and you're bringing your sexual energy through your body, you're clearing out the emotions and blockages, you can keep doing this job and also keep all the money you're making without messing up your health. I mean, I remember Mantek Chia was talking about all these billionaire clients he has who are billionaire women, billionaire Chinese women, right? And I was like, wow, I didn't know all these Chinese female entrepreneurs were making billions, right? And it's like, well, no, actually what happened was the husbands made billions, but they burnt themselves out, they died, and then they left the money to the wives. So the wives then were like, okay, I don't want to make that same mistake. I better learn how to rejuvenate my body. And that's how they ended up going off to work for Master Chia, or I should say study with Master Chia. So as this energy transforms, it turns it into a versatile superfood that can be used for anything. So this is the first step, giving you vitality. The second step, when it starts transforming in your heart center, that's when you start getting the body rejuvenating at the cellular level. That's when you start getting like a lot of vibrations, even like full body orgasms. You start feeling very, very different when this starts going on. You start looking at the world in a very, very different way. And then eventually, once that center is completely activated, then the crystal palace in the brain, don't confuse it with the football team, by the way, then that crystal palace activates as well. So this transformation process working properly is what optimizes our energy levels and makes us ooze juicy life force. Now, guys, I'm really curious, right? You've just heard something which is like an ancient Chinese theory, right? I want your honest opinion, right? If you're just listening to this and you're like, who made up that complete load of rubbish? give me a 7 in the chat. If you're like, I'm confused, give me an 8. If you're like, whoa, this resonates, give me a 9, yeah. No judgment, by the way, no judgment. And I respect you if you're going to say, Jade, you're talking complete and utter rubbish, right? I respect you. You know, I think whatever our opinion is, we should speak it with pride. We should say it, you know. There's no such thing as being wrong. There's just a thing about not being sure about your opinion. 9 and 7, I like that, Morris. Hang on, this which one was it's total rubbish? 8 is it's total rubbish. Remind me again, which which one? No, I forget what I said. Oh God. Okay, 7 is rubbish. Okay. Morris thinks it may be total rubbish. I'm curious, right? 8 means confused. Right. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, I'm getting way too excited. Yeah. It's so fascinating, right? This is just so fascinating. It's really interesting to see people putting a lot of 9s. And I honestly think when we hear this stuff, look, there's a certain amount of people that are going to be just like, are you nuts? Do you need a psychiatrist? Interestingly enough, one of my clients is one of the top psychiatrists in the world, and he thinks I'm like the best therapist he's ever had, actually. His name is Mario Moreau, and you can actually see his testimonial on my website, which is very lovely of him to have said such beautiful things, you know, about me. But yeah, it's really interesting. And the thing is, I do think I just came into this as intuition, and I followed the path and I got the results. Honestly, my soul drew me towards it. You know, I always try when I have an opportunity to explain it. I remember being on the Underground in London and this woman being like, oh, I'm a nurse, what do you do? And I'm like, well, you know, I do blah, 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 this and this and this. It probably sounds like absolute nuts rubbish to you. And she's just like, oh my God, that is like so important. That's so fantastic what you're doing. Precious, take a screenshot of me talking to put on my story if you can with your phone, right? Or if someone can take a screenshot of me talking now, it's always nice to have those on the story. But anyways, you know, it's surprising like how many people actually, when you talk about this, will just kind of go like, yeah, somewhere in there, this is kind of making sense, right? And we're going to do a meditation soon, guys. Okay, because I want you to feel this energy and feel what this energy is doing. Precious, could you please give the Zoom link to the people who are watching on Facebook and get them in here live, because I'd like for us all to be together. So let's look at different forms of sexual energy. Okay, they're hormones, right? Our hormones are always being blamed, yeah, for doing something wrong, right? You know, a bit like the emotions. And I think there's definitely a big connection between hormones and emotions. We're always blaming everything, right? You know, instead of just actually taking responsibility and going like, hey, this is, do you know what I mean? So your sexual hormones are a potent form of sexual energy. They're the manifestation of sexual energy in the physical, that's supposed to say plane, not pain, in the physical plane. These hormones regulate both love and arousal and are reflections of the state of energy and emotional world. It is very common for these energies to block. This is due to beliefs about fear, love, and arousal, fear of love and arousal that actually cause our bodies to tense around our emotions, around our lymphatic system, around our blood flow. And when we say chi, we can think, okay, chi, what is chi? It's like something I'm imagining. Think about the flow of your blood. Think about the flow of your lymphatic. If you're having problems with your blood and your lymph flowing, this is your chi. This blocks the system of the blood and lymph circulation and actually leads to dis-ease. It's the reason the #1 cancers are of sexual organs. And guys, yeah, like I think you should have received an email about a giveaway. And I want to just say, I'm going to give you a video that shows how can you actually massage your body to get this lymph cleared out and to get the chi flowing back to your sexual organs. That's one thing I want to give to you, okay? So make sure you've entered my giveaway. Everyone who enters is going to get that video. So these blockages can be released through self-massage and conscious practices with the energy, right? So people are watching, and I'm going to presume pretty much everybody watching has got either a set of testicles, a set of breasts, or perhaps both, okay? Obviously, everyone has nipples or something, right? But let's go for, if you're a guy, I invite you to put your hand between your legs, cup your testicles, and give them a little soothing, loving massage, right? If you're a woman, I invite you to just take your hands, put them on your breasts, and just give a nice massage, right? And I want you to just notice as you do this, right? You should get a nice feeling. And what this nice feeling is hormones releasing. Okay, so if you've got that nice feeling, I would like you to put a 3 in the chat if you've got a nice feeling from doing this. So let's now look at recycling sexual energy. By the way, most cancers are either in the breast, the cervix, the prostate, the testicles, and so on, right? This is basically because of this blocked energy, because cancer grows around sexual blockages. So, okay, your sexual energy is the power to create a life. This power can equally be harnessed to rejuvenate your body on the cellular level. This is just the first step of these sexual practices, only step 1, okay? This can be done by using techniques to direct the energy into your endocrine system and internal organs. Now, I suggest all of you may start practicing to massage your breasts and your testicles in a gentle, loving way on a daily basis in order to release. This is like the most basic, simple of these practices in order to release the energy, the blocked energy from these parts of your body. So sexual energy can be sent into your brain in order to increase your brain function and cognizance. I don't recommend to do that unless you pretty much know how to take the energy back down again, and how to store it. It is believed in Taoism that by working with your sexual energy, you can actually access information stored in your DNA. So let's do a practice in a minute where we're going to start accessing some of this stuff. By transmuting your sexual energy into your body and energy system, you can increase your energy levels, your vitality, and health. When your energy is in flow and you are connected to your source power, you feel entirely comfortable in your masculine, and you become masculine and feminine, I should say, and you become magnetic, right? So this is the key to being magnetic, is that essentially there's a, we'd say you clear out. You don't have to clear out anything, okay? You don't need to be pure. You definitely don't need to be perfect. You know, I mean, you're perfect when you're imperfect. Like we say in England, nobody likes a goody-goody. Don't try to be a goody-goody. When people go around saying, I never feel anger, it's only because they've done a really good job of repressing it, and they've probably got a lot of like passive aggression going on. Let's be real. You know, this is what's important, like to be real and to go out there and to just basically, you know, be who we are and be the best version of ourselves we can be. But when we clear out enough, just enough, you know, like you don't want to bring someone back to your house if the whole house is full of rubbish bags. At the same time, you know, it doesn't need to be perfect. And this is just what we want. We want to be real, you know. And when we've got that cleared out enough situation and we bring the sexual energy in, this is when we are drawing in like all this amazing, incredible attention. That's the perfect attention that we want. I mean, it's interesting, right? It's been a definitely interesting journey for me. There was one point I was just attracting like so much male energy towards myself. It was like kind of messing me up, right? Because it was, some of it was coming along in the form of harassment and so on. And then I just learned a little bit more how to kind of maybe create the protection, create a bit more of a balanced draw in from myself. And it's virtually almost disappeared and just been replaced with the kind of positive male attention that's, you know, desirable. So once you have access to your sexual power, it's a powerful catalyst to use with a partner for healing as well as pleasure. Now, I just want to talk a little bit about the partner thing, right? Because we all want to have, it's within us all that we want to have like that dream partner, that soulmate, that twin flame, whatever we want to call that, with this longing to have another part of us to make us complete. Yeah, sure. A lot of people are afraid of this, you know, myself included. I've definitely worked on this fear around having this perfect partner, but it's within our nature to want and to desire this. Yet so many people have issues to do with this, and ultimately what it comes down to is lack of connection within and into ourselves, you know. So when we are essentially when we are we're not fully connected in towards ourselves, what's going to happen is we're going to connect and create relationships with people that are based on something that's kind of egoic, you know. And then when we have these kind of egoic relationships, they tend to end in disaster one way or another, you know, whether you're a man that's having a woman coming after you to, you know, suck you dry in a divorce, or it could be the other way, because also some women do get financially abused by men as well, or various kinds of, you know, where someone just turns on you because you stopped giving them what they want. You know, when we have our own energy balance and our own connection, first of all, we avoid people that are going to do this to us, but also there's an amazing amount of healing that we can do to another person when we align our own energy. So I definitely recommend, I mean, when I work with a partner, for example, when I work with couples, there's actually no need to have the other person there. I can just work with one person and I can heal the other person. Because, for example, if you're a man and you work and you refine your energy, and then you refine the energy in your cock, the literal fact of you making love with that woman when you are activated as a man is going to heal that woman, you know. So all these things like her moodiness, her grumpiness, her anger, and so on, you can clear those all out of her body with genital reflexology, which we're going to talk about tomorrow. The same, we as women are able to heal our men if they have like premature ejaculation, if they're going at sex in an unconscious way or whatever. It doesn't matter. You don't need to, if you're going to go down this path and your husband isn't interested, you don't need to dump him. You don't need to go and find some guy in a tantra workshop. You can use your own energy the way the priestesses did in the old days to basically start to bring him into alignment with you. It's very incredibly powerful what you can do. And you can do this with your partner, not even knowing what you're doing. Okay. So who has never done a meditation with me? Can I have a 1 in the chat while I eat 3 blueberries? If you never ever have had a meditation, done a meditation with me. Tucker, you've never done a meditation with me. Wow, I thought you had. Okay. Cool. Right. I'm gonna explain how it works. I'm gonna take my shoes off, and I recommend if you're wearing shoes, remove them. Okay. Now, talking about what position to be in. Ava, I notice you sitting cross-legged, right? So when we're cross-legged, we're bringing up huge amounts of magnetic earth energy into the body, which is feminine energy. This is quite cool for women. It's also why in Kundalini yoga, a lot of people sit on a sheepskin to stop that energy coming up into the body. I recommend personally, put your feet shoulder width apart on the floor. If you're comfortable cross-legged, stay there. Classically, we want to put the feet shoulder width apart on the floor. So we have the shoulders, we have the hips, we have the knees, we have the feet, and it's powerful for you to join in with us on a replay as well, guys. So if you're watching the replay, I recommend get seated, get comfy. Let's have some fun together, okay? Oh, and before we start, I just want, please, guys, can you put where in the world are you? What country are you in? What's your nearest city that I might have heard of? Atlanta, Georgia. There's so many cool people in Atlanta, Georgia. I keep speaking to people there. What's so cool? Portland, Oregon, Lagos, Portugal. I'm in Portugal too. Nashville, Tennessee. Oh yeah, isn't that famous for like blues? Oh yeah, it is. I think we had that conversation already. What I love about this is we're kind of like creating a vortex, you know. I guess people in Wales are like, not in Wales, people in India, nice, someone in India, but a lot of people out in Asia, obviously Australia. What I love and why I ask this is we're actually creating like a kind of a grid across the earth, you know, where we're all in different places and we're all creating ourselves into these kind of vortexes of energy. And we're all connecting in together. Cyprus, we have Cyprus. Looks like we might have Ohio. I didn't know you were in Ohio. I think that we have Cornwall joining us as well, you know. So I really want us to like set in the intention, first of all, at the beginning of this, that we want to be eliciting powerful spiritual sexual healing within our own bodies, you know, and this is definitely about us, and it's definitely about creating around you and in you and for you this beautiful, like clean vortex of energy. But it's not just about you, you know. I think that huge amounts of the problems going on in the world have to do with the imbalance and blockage of the sexual energy and the love, because we can't just talk about blockages of love. It's not just about blockages of love, it's about sexual energy and love being blocked, you know. And I know everybody watching here, I know that you obviously you've spent over an hour now listening to this. You spent another hour yesterday, and you have a serious intention right towards this own transformation for yourself. But we also understand about the world, that the world is also needing this. So I want to just set this intention and just send out love to like everybody existing in the world who's suffering because of their sexual energy, who's feeling a slave to their sexual energy, who's being hurt by a lack of love, which I think is everybody out there, you know, who's feeling confused by emotions, because people don't need to be living in this, you know, what I'm talking to you about. This should be basic knowledge that's taught in schools, but it's not, okay? And hence we have a lot of problems. And if you guys, anybody here is parents, I definitely recommend our kids need to know about this stuff as well. We need to stop being ashamed. We need to stop acting like we can't talk to our kids about sex, because if we are not giving them the information they ask about sex, they are going to go to other sources. It's so important that we talk to our kids, whatever they ask, however embarrassing it is. Trust me, it's happened to me. I've been asked by my daughter, "Mummy, how do two men have sex together?" And she was like 8. And the thing is, if I don't answer her clearly, she's going to go somewhere else for information. And we need to really, really own this as parents, and also own the fact that if we are not working on our own energy, if we're not balancing our sexual energy, if we're not balancing our emotional energy, our children are picking up on the traumas that we have inherited, and they're going to be taking them out into the world, and they're going to be perpetuating this system that's just traumatizing everybody. So without further ado, what we're doing is based on the principle from martial arts that wherever your attention goes, the energy flows. Okay, and what we're going to do, and this is what Taoism and these practices are very, very much about, this is about going within and going into our bodies and starting to discover the universe that's inside us, and then learning how to work with and adapt these energies so that we can create perfect balance and harmony within our bodies and within these incredible alchemical chambers that we own. So let's just have a little wiggle, okay? Because wiggling is really, really good. So I'm a really big wriggler and I really support wriggling and moving, you know, and kind of just check in and just become aware of where's your coccyx, your sacrum, your spine, your brain. And just relax, finding yourself comfortable. And I invite you to shut your eyes and allow your belly to rise and fall with your breathing. And then you can bring your attention now to your eyes, noticing your eyelids are shut, which means you're looking at the back of your eyelids. So I invite you, rather than getting bored by the sight of the back of your eyelids, to direct your gaze inwards. So visualize that you're now looking into your brain. And then visualize looking down into your mouth, down your throat, into your chest, and into the part in the center of your chest where you feel that your heart is. And do feel free to place your hands over your heart. And smile into your heart. And connect with your heart. And just connect as if you're looking into the eyes of a beloved friend, or perhaps a beloved friend you have not seen in a long time. And I want you to send love, unconditional, non-judgmental love into your heart. Being aware at the same time that your heart is the natural center of love within your body. And we all know this because if we send a heart, if we love someone, we're going to send them a picture of the heart, not a picture of the liver, not a picture of your kidney or your lungs, but we send a heart. And it's a red heart. So we can visualize this red heart in the center of our chest. And as you're smiling and you're connecting and you're sending this energy into your heart, notice that the red light in your heart is growing, and that feeling, which is love. And you may notice that this feeling is a little bit different from what you thought of as love. Because it's all well and good to buy someone some flowers or box of chocolates with a big red heart, which is fantastic things to do, but love is an energy vibration, and it's actually the basic vibration of all of creation. In a sense, anything else is a vibration of trauma. And it's not even about love and fear, it's about trauma and love. And basically, love is the answer to healing that trauma. So if you almost visualize like where you have a trauma in the body, it leaves this little gray patch or this little knotted, tight. And the fire, that red energy, is the energy of fire that actually has the ability to burn away anything in your body that doesn't belong there. Which is why Jesus was so into love, but not in the way love is sometimes used as a weapon against us, in the pure meaning of that energy vibration. And I've literally protected myself from like attacks by like really full-on entities just through growing this love energy. So feeling all this beautiful red energy surrounding your heart. And by the way, if something coming up that is like a pain or a discomfort or anything like that, what that means is you're doing a really powerful job of healing something very, very deep within your body. So if there's a unpleasant feeling coming up, really honor this feeling. If you're feeling love, relaxation, balance, and so on, also honor that. And just use your intention to place this ball of energy into your heart, into a red ball, about the size of a baseball or a tennis ball. And leave this ball now in your heart, floating in your heart. So the ball is slightly bigger than your heart, and it's just encompassing your whole heart with love. And now move your hands down and place your hands over your sexual center, which is where the womb is on a woman. And connect with your sexual center. It's kind of where the sacral chakra is as well. And smile to your sexual center. And you can notice that this energy is connected to your kidneys and the element of water, and that it's a blue color. And you can kind of visualize this like a calm blue still lake on a summer's day. Just visualize this blue lake filling up your entire pelvis. Your pelvis relaxing and healing with this blue, calm energy. But at the same time, notice how powerful your lake is. You know, think hydroelectric dam. Think life force energy. Think that this sexual energy has the power to create a life. And notice that this blue energy, it also connects you into your DNA, to inherited wisdom and knowledge. It connects you to all of your ancestors. And in fact, all of humanity, both those that have passed, those that are present, and those who are to come. So as you're really finding yourself present in your sexual center, walking into your womb, I invite you to envision yourself walking into a cave. And that in this cave, you can see a fire. And that sitting around the fire are a lot of old people. And that the old people are your ancestors, and that they are telling stories. And they are imparting wisdom and knowledge to you. Wisdom and knowledge which is in your DNA, which you're able to activate and take advantage of. And honestly, this is why when I'm telling you this crazy story about these energy centers that no doctor will tell you about, and this is why some of you have just had this feeling going, yeah, that makes sense. It's like sometimes we just know things, but we're taught not to trust ourselves. We're taught not to trust our intuition. We're even taught this makes us crazy and mentally ill, that we're connected into these higher forces. And these lower forces as well, because the lower forces are as important as the higher forces. And if you want to really manifest in the physical realm, you need to also be connected with the lower forces. So let's now visualize creating this ball of blue energy into a ball the same size as the ball in the heart. And let's place it into the womb space. And guys, don't worry, you have energetic wombs. So place it into your energetic womb space, just above your pubic bone. And feel this beautiful ball of blue life force, incredible, powerful, gentle energy. It is activating and it's spiraling inside of your sexual center. So, placing your hand over this ball of energy. In a moment, when I tell you, what we're going to do is we're going to use the hands, but we're going to use our intention and the hands just helping us. And we're going to guide this ball of energy up into our heart. And we're going to do this on the in-breath whilst making the sound with the lips. Okay, so breathing out all the way and breathing in with a sucking sound. And guide that ball, that blue ball, and place it into your heart. And just notice, be aware of what's. Notice what you experience and what you see. Make note of that feeling and visualize the red ball becoming like a more darker burgundy color. And the energy increasing and spreading through your chest. And then on the exhale, use your hands and your intention to guide that red ball of energy down into your sexual center. And you can visualize almost that there is this sun setting over the lake. And you can feel the lake becoming warmer and almost noticing the blue color becoming something like a lilac color. And you can feel the sexual energy warming and becoming more active. And then exhaling out all the way when it's time to naturally exhale. And then breathing in, sucking up. And bringing the blue purple ball of energy and placing it in your heart and smiling into your heart. And feeling that now the red energy in the heart is becoming more like a purple color. Noticing how it feels. Tuning into the subtleties of what it's doing. Being aware and relaxing, which allows the energy to activate and to transform and to move. And then exhaling and bringing that red energy down into your sexual center. Placing it there, smiling. And feeling now that ball of sexual energy is really becoming a purple color as the love and the sexual energy, the orgasmic energy are mixing and combining together. Relaxing and just being aware how this feels in your sexual center. And then breathing in, sucking up, and bringing the energy into your heart. And you can notice actually that now you kind of just got these two balls of purple energy, and that as you exhale, the purple energy comes down. And as you inhale, the purple energy comes up. So I invite you to just gently start to work, moving these energies up and down. And it's really powerful when we kind of are connected into other people. And we're doing this. Sometimes if I have clients who do these practices on their own and have a problem feeling the energy, I find when we do it, either me and them together or with a group of people, they don't have a problem anymore after that. Because then they get the activation and they start to feel it. So let's just end with this hands over the heart. And just connecting and just really setting the intention. So what we've done is we've just done a spiritual activation of love and sexual energy. This is not really working with sexual energy in any kind of a tangible way. This is like the first activation that we can do on ourselves. So, first of all, now that we've finished, I just recommend just give yourself a little move, a little wiggle, move the fingers, move the toes. And I'm very interested to hear any questions. So if you have any questions about this, any comments, any observations, please put in the chat. And actually, I wasn't going to say this today, but I think I will. So I want to invite and offer to people who are here that are new to me, that don't know so much about this system. We haven't talked before. What I want to offer you is like a 15-minute consultation for free, where we can talk about basically outlining any blockages that you might have. So this is not going to be, nothing is going to be offered to be sold to you during this call. It can be assessed whether you can go in for another call to find out about what I do and see if that might be an option for you. But this is just to basically go over like what's going on with you and just see if there's any kind of pointers I can give you that you could start working on with your own energy, and also basically to see if working with me might be an option for you, or if there's any other direction that I can send you in. So if you're interested in that, I want to invite you to send me a message in the chat privately now, and I'm going to get you like onto where you can book that call with me. So I'm just looking here at the comments. I'd love to hear anything more. Okay, thoughts on working with pain sensations during meditations and activations. Okay, my assistant just put the link there in the chat, which you can use to book a call. So this is to book you in initially for a 15-minute consultation. So he's just put that there in the chat. Please, guys, yeah, click that. But if you have any problems, anybody, okay, I want to just say, I do work with clients, obviously. This is what I do, right? This is my work. That's why I can talk about this. And I want to just say, like, I do sometimes have like partial scholarships I offer out to people. So anybody who today just book a chat, I'm going to consider you, if we decide to work together in the future and have that second call, I'm going to consider you for one of those partial scholarships, but you do need to get on today and book the call today. Okay. So, I'm just going to give you here my WhatsApp as well. You can also WhatsApp me. There's a UK number, WhatsApp. Again, if you want to know about either having this call or basically working with me, you've got that link there, but any questions, do WhatsApp me. So thoughts on working with pain sensations during meditations and activations. This is definitely like when pain comes up, what the pain is the pain is like blocked energy within the body, and the blocked energy is calling on us to start releasing these blockages. Ultimately, we can say, okay, this is a pain, my muscle is tight, my tendon is doing this and that, and so on. But ultimately, you know, when it comes down to it, these are unprocessed emotions, sometimes from this lifetime, sometimes even from stuff that can be from our ancestors or from other lifetimes. I mean, doing ancestral healing, like, it's a total thing, right? And once you have cleaned out your own energy in the body, you're going to find the ancestral stuff, the past life stuff, and everything coming along. And the more that you work and the more that you transform these energies, it's like the more powerful you come, the more beautiful you come, you know. So I have various techniques that I work with clients to transform these blockages. I noticed another question which very much ties in with this. So how do you release negative emotion before this kind of work? Because I understand the energy can increase. So first of all, let's just be clear. Negative is not bad. Positive is not good. We just don't know how to deal with the negative. So the negative are powerful, they are fine, but what we do is we block them, and it's the blockages that are bad. Okay, so how do we work on negative emotions? And that ties in with that other question. So I'm just going to explain how I work with my clients, which is, okay, if you imagine the body is an alchemical chamber, right? Now imagine I spend my whole life like this, you know. How is my energy going to be flowing? Okay, that's an exaggeration, but how many of us close our heart down physically because we're afraid of love? How many of us do things with the head, which is blocking, you know, the energy, right? Movement is important. Breathing is super, super important. The thoracic diaphragm and having awareness and using the thoracic diaphragm is really, really important. This is just looking at the physical structure, right? Then how do we get these pains, these blockages, these discomforts, these things that don't belong there? How do we work on them? How do we unblock them? Okay, we unblock them by learning to cultivate energy, to move energy, to transform energy, to refine energy, to store energy. So imagine this, right? We're going to talk about this more tomorrow, but each organ is like basically it creates emotions, or it holds emotions. It's like an alchemization center for emotions. We can look at the heart, and love and hate, okay, is a really easy example of that. Because we're not dealing with the negative and we're repressing them, those negative emotions, they go into the organs and they knot up our organs, right? So most people are walking around with energetically knotted up organs. Okay, and imagine the effect this is having on most people's bodies. And when we look around and see the craziness going on in the world around us, you know, and so on, it's actually, this is a huge part of this, you know. We get those knots in the organs, we get them in the meridians, we get them in the whole body. So through developing these skills, which is the first 5 weeks I work with people, is to learn how to work with energy. Okay, by the time the person has finished the first 5 weeks, okay, they will pretty much know how to move the energy, how to store it, how to transform it, so on and so forth. Because if you start working with your sexual energy and you don't know how to do that, you're likely to end up in trouble. Okay, it's really, really important to be able to, for example, the sexual energy can rise up in a very powerful, volatile way. It's happened to me and it's knocked me for 6, right? If you don't know how to bring it down again, or if it's coming up and it's amplifying, for example, you imagine you still have that block under your heart, the sexual energy comes up here. What's it going to do is it's going to bounce down into your liver and start making you really angry. It's crazy how this works, but it really, really does, you know. So my phase number 1 with clients is unblock the energy, the emotional energy, and reconnect the meridians. Phase 2 is then go into your sexual energy, go into your sexual organs, clear that energy out, and start moving that energy around your body. And what that means is literally moving the energy into your coccyx, your sacrum, your spine, your brain, down into your organs, using that energy to heal your organs, and also start creating these, like, first of all, this body that's actually actively alchemizing and doing what it's supposed to do. But also, come on, we all want great orgasms and we all want full body orgasms, and that's a part of it. And it's a thing I love about this, that, you know, we can think like, you know, I mentioned yesterday how this all started with me wanting to have an orgasm, just wanting one orgasm. You'll think, oh, that's a base lower desire. That's, you know, she should be wanting to be enlightened. She should be wanting to save the children. She should be wanting to this and that. But the point is, looking at those diagrams we saw today, which hopefully you guys have screenshotted, the sexual energy rises up into the 3 centers, the 3 dantians. And as it rises up, it activate. So hey, don't worry if your motivation it's a lower desire or lust or whatever, it doesn't matter, because that is the key to raising you up through your energy centers. And it's really, really important to be grounded in a strong basis. And I'm very much all for having your lower centers being very much honored and very much activated, because you need a strong foundation. Otherwise, you're just a spiritual person who can't even pay their rent and sort of cover their basic existence and doesn't have money to spend on what we need to spend on money in life. And that is no good. And it's so important for, like, especially spiritual people to go back to the basics and work on creating that foundation, because we are here as spiritual beings to live in the physical dimension, in a physical body, and to have this experience. When we're trying to be spiritual, when we're trying to transcend, when we're trying to be way up there, this is egoic. This is avoiding the experience we're here for. It's also avoiding the pain, it's avoiding the lessons. And it's not, you know, we all, I'm sure, know about spiritual bypassing, and there's nothing like really cool or really like amazing about it. It's just rubbish, yeah, and it's just egoic projection, basically, you know. we need to honor every step of the way. We need to honor the need to feel safe, the need to feel provided for, the need to have love, the need to feel pleasure, the need to feel like, you know, creating. We need everything that's, you know, the role of what we do in this physical world is all really, really important. And that's the foundation from which we can really honestly and meaningfully be cultivating love and cultivating this energy that we just felt within our heart, which once it's filled our heart, it's going to spread to the body. And once the body is full of this energy, it's going to fill our aura. And then we're going to be effortlessly showering love all around us, everywhere we go. And we won't need to worry about trying to give love to others in a way which is contrived and ill-received, and we're feeling hard done by, and we're feeling bitter, and we're feeling we've done all this stuff for other people and we've not been appreciated, because when we don't have that basis of self-love, we're actually not going to be respected, and people don't know what they're doing. They're just reacting like animals, because most people are just on the level of just being animals. So yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it, that it's you know, it's this. So I mentioned 2 stages out of 3, right? So the second stage is working on the sexual energy. The third stage is then, and the reason I add this to the program, which pretty much none of the Tao teachers are doing, is when I went through this process of like really activating the sexual energy, and I went back to having sex the way I had before, which is normal sex that normal people have in relationships, that people think is normal, fine, whatever to do. I suddenly realized the normal way I'd been having sex before was actually really, really traumatic, you know, because we talk about sexual abuse and mistreatment and so on and so forth, but the way that most people are treating themselves sexually and treating other people sexually is so much in dissonance with what is our actual sexual purpose. When we have sex as a rubbing of genitals aiming towards an orgasm to release the tension in our bodies, this is like a huge insult to our soul and to our purpose and to the alchemical purpose and process of the body. So basically, you know, what I then teach people is how to actually get to the point where, first of all, guys, women, we are creating a magnetic connection with other people, whether this is a beloved or a non-beloved, where we're feeling so much energy and chemistry that we're creating something more powerful with that person than they may have had most times they've ever had sex in their lives. And it's all based on love. This is not about manipulation, because, you know, we can read every manipulation technique in the book and use it, but ultimately, you know, I think we all know that at some point it's going to bring us somewhere which is not, you know, the most great result, right? However, love, when we are vibrating in the frequency of love, this is never ever going to be badly received. You know, when we're able to start creating that connection and then understand the sexual workings of that partner of the opposite or the same sex, and we're able to start working with their body and working with their body as an alchemical chamber, because we understand our own, what happens is sex goes from this release of negative tension, which actually is not releasing negative tension, it's just only releasing the what's this called again, the amplifier. So the amplifier is the sexual energy is amplifying the negative emotions to show us them so we can heal them, but we're not healing them, we're just getting rid of the amplifier, which means we're slowly draining and draining and draining ourselves. Whereas when we start working with the energy, and then we can bring the amplifier into the body and amplify all that is unique and authentic and original and pure and good about ourselves, then we're shining out like a light into the world. And so I definitely teach people, because once you've had that transformation, it's a huge thing. You feel completely different. People will look at you completely different. And if you go back to having sex as you did before, you're going to seriously mess yourself up. So I teach, how do you then create yourself with your beloved into something like a battery, where you're alchemizing and you're healing and you're working with energy within each other. And yeah, guys, I just received a WhatsApp message there from someone. Please do feel free to WhatsApp me now, and we'll talk in the next day or two and make sure that you get that call and that we have that chat together, basically. So yeah, this is like the 3 stages. So in the end, it's like, for example, with my partner, and by my way, my partner who was here earlier and has disappeared is off to have fun with his friends. He didn't know about these practices. He, you know, I've showed some of him, but it's not, he's not like, oh, I want to do this the way I do it, right? But it's like, he's open to love, and that's all that matters. He's open to love, and obviously I'm open to connect on that loving way with him, you know, and he tells me, well, he's never felt so much love and so much so on, you know, so much openness and so much experiences. He's kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe the way I always had sex before, you know, but I've just very gently and easily and simply guided him how to start having the orgasm in his body, instead of just thinking sex was about an ejaculation. And we can all learn to do that with our partner, so that we don't, like I say, we don't have to go running off to a tantra workshop and pick up some polyamorous tantra dude with a huge ego, hoping to find someone on the same, you know. We can just do our cultivation and connect from love and trust that everything here that's going on with our bodies is absolutely perfect. And when we start using these powerful sexual and loving energies, and when we've activated our own body to be like a tool of healing, first of all for ourselves and then for others around us, it's incredible the effects we can have on our beloved, on our nearest and dearest, our family, on those we love, and friends, and so on. And then on the wider community, people we work with, and so on. Like huge transformations can start happening. In fact, I want to just honor somebody here who's diligently helping me. Precious, I just want to honor you, and I just want to say thank you to Precious, who was working for a business coach, and he was working for me at the same time. And I do think he may have been getting more money from that business coach, and he's quit with the business coach to come to work with me because he feels like what I'm doing, he feels so powerfully that he wants to kind of be part of it and so on. And I'm really, really pleased. And I want to just say, you know, there's moments like you said things to me, Precious, for example, when it was my birthday, and you've actually sent me a WhatsApp message when you're singing happy birthday to you, Jade, you know, and there's so many moments you've warmed my heart. And I do feel like as we're sharing this energy, something really beautiful is happening between us. So Precious, if you can show your face to us. Hello, hello, hello. Are you here? Can we all say thank you, Precious, because he's really been part of, he's saying 1 second, he's really part of this all. There's other people who work for me as well who are not here, including Jilly, including Russ Lee as well. There's other people in the background who've been part of this, like all over the world, from different cultures, different religions, people from Islamic religion, Christian tradition, Buddhist tradition. Like, it's so beautiful how, like, you know, people who are quite religious that you think might not want to work with a sex coach actually do, and do support me, you know. So these people we don't see, they're really, really important as well. Precious lives in.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Jade.
Are you showing your face to us? Where are you?
I am here.
I want to pin you. Here we go.
Yeah.
In Nigeria, which is the home of Afrobeats. Yeah, man, you guys are
yeah, Afrobeat.
Yeah.
Hi guys.
Nigeria.
So lovely to have all of you here.
Yeah, Nigeria is the future. Africa is the future, you know. So yeah. Thank you
so much. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So guys, I want to just say, make sure everybody's got the contact they need, and let you know tomorrow we're talking more about this emotional stuff and how the emotional stuff fits in with sexual energy. We're looking at how does the sexual energy, and the emotions all fit together, both within our body and within the sexual organs as well. So, wishing you all a beautiful rest of your day, evening, night, whatever it is. And I really look forward to having a chat in the future with those of you guys who are going, yeah, this is meaning something to me. This is something I want to be bringing and integrating into my life. This is a transformation I want to see within myself and I want to create in the world around you. Get in touch with me. Let's chat. And looking forward to seeing all tomorrow. Sending lots of love. Okay, and Nick, watch the replay and do feel free to get in touch with me over this 15-minute consultation. All right then. Bye. Bye, Tucker. Bye, everybody.